On the morning of January 17th, the Toronto Blue Jays acquired $2 million in international bonus pool money and Myles Straw from the Cleveland Guardians in exchange for a player to be named later or cash considerations. As this news broke, Blue Jays fans exploded with excitement, but none of that excitement was directed toward Straw. See, at the time, the week building up to this trade was filled with talk of 23-year-old Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki, who was in the process of coming stateside to sign with a major league team as an international amateur. The sweepstakes were long and tedious, but as more and more information came out, it seemed clear that the Blue Jays were finalists to sign Sasaki, along with the San Diego Padres and Los Angeles Dodgers. So, when news of the Straw deal broke, many pointed to the $2 million in international bonus pool money that could be sent directly to Sasaki if he were to sign in Toronto, and jumped to the conclusion that the Jays knew Sasaki was going to choose them, or at least they had a strong belief that the $2 million would set them apart from the other finalists. After all, Cleveland wasn't just going to give away their bonus pool money as a good deed to Toronto, who it seemed had finally won a massive free agent sweepstakes. In return for the bonus pool money, Toronto had to take on Myles Straw in the $6.4 million against the luxury tax that he's owed for 2025 and 2026. That's definitely not an insignificant chunk of change, and was pretty close to being considered dead money, because in 2024, Myles Straw only got into 7 major league games. He spent almost the entirety of his age 29 season playing for Cleveland's AAA affiliate, and in nearly 500 plate appearances, his OPS was well below AAA average at 651, and he hit just 3 home runs. It's not often you see players establish themselves as big leaguers, earn a contract extension, and then play themselves back into the minor leagues. And it's even less often that you see those players make their way back to the major leagues and contribute in a meaningful way. Cleveland was elated to get off of his contract, and it's safe to say that the Jays didn't love taking it on, but it would easily be worth the price if it helped them acquire a cost-controlled, future superstar starting pitcher in Roki Sasaki. Of course, as we now know, on the evening of the same day that the Blue Jays traded for Myles Straw, disaster struck, and Sasaki announced on his Instagram that he had agreed to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The baseball world once again cracked jokes at the expense of the Blue Jays and their inability to push a high-profile free agent acquisition over the line, as Blue Jays fans descended into anger and frustration having gotten their hopes up for Sasaki and instead being left with Straw. When the dust settled and we evaluated the Blue Jays roster outlook heading into spring training, it was hard to even find a spot on the roster for Straw, and if it wasn't for Dalton Varsho's delayed start to the season due to a long recovery from shoulder surgery, he may have been relegated to starting yet another season in the minors. The rest of the baseball world didn't quite respect it yet, but coming into 2025, the Blue Jays planned on being a serious contender, and not a lot of people saw the vision that included Myles Straw playing a role on a contending team. Well, in 2025, both Straw and the Jays have proved everyone wrong. The Blue Jays have had a stranglehold on the top spot in the American League East for more than a month now, and they look to be cruising back into October despite so many people counting them out after their disappointing 2024. And Myles Straw is a big reason why. Ask John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, how his team has produced some of the best offensive numbers in the game, and how his position player group has come together to lead baseball in F-WAR, and he'll talk about the importance of not 1 through 9, but 1 through 13. Schneider would tell you that every player on the roster has a role to play every day, whether that's starting at shortstop, or laying down a bunt in a key situation, or coming in as a defensive replacement to protect a late lead. Myles Straw has bought into that philosophy and has played his role perfectly. He's top 10 among outfielders with 11 defensive runs saved, despite playing an average of about 400 less innings compared to every player above him on the list. Straw's defense has been nothing short of elite this year, and is the main factor helping him to 1.5 WAR according to Fangraphs, and a 2.0 WAR according to Baseball Reference. That's a very valuable player. And don't let the emphasis on his glove let you forget his contributions with the bat. Straw has played an important offensive role for the Jays' elite offense this year. The overall numbers don't exactly jump off the page, but his 10 successful sacrifice bunts are the 3rd most in baseball. His base running is elite, and his 669 OPS in the majors this season is actually better than his performance in AAA last season. He recently registered his first career multi-homer game against the Texas Rangers, and his 4 homers this season have tied his career high set in 2021. Nothing he does will blow you away, but looking at the big picture, Straw has been well worth that $6.4 million he's making this season. Fangraphs values one WAR at about $8 million, So 1.5 F4 this year would already make Straw's season worth about $12 million on the open market. If we use B War instead, 2.1 wins above replacement would have Straw worth more than $16 million. Not only have the Jays broken even on what was expected to be a negative value contract, Straw has actually provided excess value. And do you remember that $2 million in international bonus pool money that was originally the headline of the Straw trade? Well, the Blue Jays recently agreed to sign an exciting 18-year-old Korean pitcher, Seo Jun Moon, to a minor league contract worth $1.5 million of that extra bonus pool money. Moon is considered to be one of the top Korean pitching prospects in this year's class and is choosing to sign with the major league team rather than getting drafted to the KBO. There's still a lot of season left to play, and he's still under contract for next year, but it's been really fun watching Myles Straw turn one of the worst stories of the Blue Jays 2025 into one of the best.